All right, rugby fans, let's dive into France's win over Argentina in the Autumn Nations series. We're going beyond just the scoreline here today to really understand what this means for both teams. We've got a couple of great sources to help us out. First, we've got the BBC Sport match report, and then we'll dig into some deeper analysis from Planet Rugby.
Yeah, I think this match is really fascinating, especially when you consider Argentina and their potential. Planet Rugby makes a good point about the progress they've made, but it's like they keep hitting the same roadblocks.
So let's start with the basics. France wins it 37-23. Comfortable win when you just look at the numbers. But the BBC report makes it pretty clear that Argentina didn't go down without a fight.
That's exactly it. They had their moments, especially in the second half, but it's that consistency over 80 minutes that they seem to be lacking.
Okay, so rewind back to the beginning. France takes an early lead. Argentina's keeping pace, though, thanks to Tomas Albornoz's boot. He's racking up the points. But then right before halftime, boom, France scores 2 tries back-to-back. One from Gavin Villiere and then a penalty try.
And that penalty try, I think, is a really crucial moment. It kind of highlights Argentina's Achilles heel, which is discipline. You've got Juan Marin Gonzalez sent off for 10 minutes for a deliberate knock-on. Almost certainly prevented a try from Bielle-Biarrey. And, those 10 minutes with a man down, they really hurt Argentina.
Yeah, Argentina did manage to get a try of their own in the second half. Thomas Gallo powered over the line. They definitely didn't give up, but those disciplinary issues kept coming back to bite them.
Absolutely. Planet Rugby calls it out pretty clearly, even calling it a recurring theme for Argentina.
Yeah.
It goes beyond just raw talent. You need to keep a cool head and make smart decisions on the pitch.
So later on, Bielle-Biarrey gets his try for France. I mean, this guy's a try-scoring machine. 10 tries in just 14 appearances? That's insane. Argentina's Ignacio Ruiz scores a late try, but ultimately France takes their 3rd win of the series.
What's interesting here is that this performance from France is very reminiscent of their form leading into the World Cup. It's like they've shaken off that quarterfinal loss to South Africa, and they're back on track.
I bet French fans are pretty happy about that.
Yeah, this win has to be a huge confidence booster going into the Six Nations. They're looking like real contenders again.
So let's talk about what worked well for France. Planet Rugby is singing the praises of their pack.
Oh, absolutely. Their scrum was dominant. Both sources actually point this out. It's classic French rugby, really. They controlled the set pieces and dictated the pace of the game.
But it wasn't just brute force. They showed some real finesse, too.
Oh, for sure. That try from Villiere, the BBC, describes it as a flowing French move, and that's a perfect example. You've got that power up front combined with the creativity of the backs, and that's what makes France so dangerous.
Strong scrum creative backs. And the BBC also mentions their impenetrable defense. They really shut down Argentina's attacks.
Yeah, their defensive line was incredibly well organized. Constant pressure forced Argentina into making errors. It's that all-around strength that's making people talk about France as potential Six Nations champions, But, while France is looking really strong, this match raises an interesting question about what it takes for a team like Argentina to really break into that top tier of rugby nations.
Yeah, they're so close, but they seem to be missing something.
Yeah.
We talked about the discipline, but Planet Rugby also points to their scrum performance as a big weakness.
And it's not just that the scrum was weaker, it's that they really struggled specifically in that first hour of the match. They couldn't establish any kind of control. And against a team like France, that's crucial.
Yeah, you give a team like France that much of a head start, it's tough to come back from that.
Exactly. And look, this isn't to say Argentina doesn't have the talent. Planet Rugby acknowledges the strides they've made, especially in playing a more expansive attacking style. It's almost like they have these two sides, moments of brilliance like that Gallo try, but then those lapses in concentration and discipline creep back in.
So how do they bridge that gap? What needs to happen for Argentina to take that next step?
I think it comes down to consistency and composure under pressure. If they can figure out how to eliminate those disciplinary issues and really solidify their scrum, they could be a serious threat to any team in the world.
It's funny how often you hear commentators talk about those things.
Yeah.
Disciplined set pieces, the fundamentals of good rugby. But it's matches like this that really drive the point home.
It's so true. You can have all the flashy plays in the world, but if you can't win those basic battles, you're going to struggle against the top teams.
So back to France. They're looking very strong going into the Six Nations.
Yeah.
How do you see them matching up against teams like Ireland and England?
I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. This win against Argentina on top of their pre-World Cup form suggests they've found something that works. Powerful, creative backline, solid defense. I mean, they're ticking all the boxes.
So are we putting our money on France for the championship then?
Well, it's early days. Of course, the Six Nations is always unpredictable. But I wouldn't bet against them.
Well, that's got to be music to French fans' ears.
Mm.
Now, before we wrap up, both the BBC and Planet Rugby mentioned something I found interesting. They both talked about the incredible atmosphere at the Stade de France.
Oh, yeah. Planet Rugby even called it the benchmark for hosting test matches.
They were talking about this really theatrical pre-match build-up with light shows and all this energy from the crowd. It sounds like it was an amazing experience to be there.
And they even suggest that other rugby nations could learn from this approach, create a spectacle, an event that goes beyond just the match itself.
It's a really good point. I mean, in a world with so many entertainment options, you got to offer something special to draw the fans in.
Exactly. It's not just about the rugby on the pitch. It's about the whole experience.
Speaking of the experience, let's go back to some of those key moments in the match. For example, that opening try from Thibaut Flamand. The BBC described it as a powerful surge from close range.
Yeah, classic French rugby. They used their big forwards to wear down the Argentinian defense, and Flamand was right there to finish it off.
And that Villiere try, it was just beautiful, pure artistry. The BBC called it the culmination of a flowing French move. What did that even look like on the field?
Well, it's all about quick passing support runners, players anticipating each other's movements. It creates this really seamless attack that's incredibly difficult to defend against.
Like they're playing chess out there, anticipating each other's moves.
Exactly. And the French have always had that kind of intelligent rugby. They can be so physical, but then they have that flair, that creativity in their attack.
So thinking about the Six Nations and other upcoming matches, what do other teams need to do to try and stop that French attack?
I think discipline in defense is going to be absolutely key. No missed tackles, no gaps in the line. And they'll need to find a way to disrupt France's momentum, maybe by putting pressure on their halfbacks or slowing down the ball at the breakdown.
So it's not just about matching their physicality. It's about being smarter, more tactical.
Absolutely. And that's what makes watching a team like France so exciting. They really challenge their opponents to raise their game.
Okay, so we've talked about France's performance, Argentina's potential, and the importance of, creating a captivating fan experience. Anything else that stood out to you from these articles?
What really struck me was how both sources emphasized that this match was just one small part of a much bigger story. For France, it's about building towards the Six Nations and then ultimately the next World Cup. And for Argentina, it's about continuing to grow and improve their game.
That's a great point to end on. This match wasn't just about the final score. It was about the future of these two teams and what they can achieve.
Exactly. And I think for any rugby fan, that's what makes this sport so compelling. It's always evolving. There are always new challenges. And every match has the potential to change the narrative.
Well, to all our rugby fans out there, we hope this deep dive has given you something to think about. Keep your eyes on France and Argentina as they continue their rugby journeys. And remember, rugby is more than just a game. It's a world of passion, drama, and some truly unforgettable moments.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time, may your scrums be strong and your tries be spectacular.